Sicily, the largest island in the Mediterranean, a land of ancient, awesome legend, yet also a land blessed with sunshine, olives, and the lemon tree. Once known as Sicania after its earliest inhabitants, it appears before our eyes in its most unexpected colours, with green hills swathed in corn, the source of its wealth. Sicilian history is a cavalcade of invasion. The Sicani, Siculi, Eliemni, Carthaginians and Greeks were the first. The invasions continued with a second wave of Carthaginians, followed by Romans, Jews, Vandals, Saracens, Normans and Spaniards. Each has added a rich layer to Sicily's extraordinary fusion of genes and culture. This melting pot of nationalities is nowhere better seen than in the island's capital, Palermo. Palermo is an incredible jumble of periods and styles. No map does justice to the city's confusion, given that the Spanish grid system is subverted by Moorish blind alleys, squalid bomb sites and rampant urbanization. Palermo still wears the stately cloak of Baroque, such as here, the Quattro Canti, the richly ornate capex where Palermo's two main streets intersect. Or a few paces away, the 16th century Fontana Pretoria, originally commissioned for a Tuscan villa and then adapted to suit the present piazza. Originally nicknamed Piazza Vagorga, Square of Shame after its riot of saucy, nude statues cavorting in the fountain, the vast circular basin is peopled by tritons, nymphs and river gods. Reputedly, the local nuns chopped off the noses of the nude gods, but stopped short of castration. Adjoining the square is the Senataro, the over-restored Gothic city hall. A worthy reminder of its former rulers is offered by the Palazzo di Normandy, a splendid royal palace built by the men of Normandy in the 9th century out of an earlier Arab castle. The palace is now the seat of the Sicilian Parliament. The Pisan Tower, also called the Nimba, is the core of the entire complex. It was originally set up as an observatory. Deep within the palazzo is Piazza Berti Polo, supposedly the site of a secret Masonic society Palermitans believe spawned the Mafia. South of the royal palace sits a Norman church which is sheer poetry. San Giovanni degli Amitri was built by Roger II in the 12th century. The elegance of the Arab influence is unmistakable. The cathedral, too, was begun under the Normans, but has been remodeled at length throughout the centuries. Even so, one can still catch the marked classicism and the flair for fantasy, typical of the final stages of Norman architecture. The apse is the part where the original 12th century outlines are most evident. Another survivor from the distant past is the compact Balca Casiza, once the stately pleasure dome of the Norman kings. San Cadalda, whose red cupolas evoke the eastern lands. The triple-domed church is one of the last sacred buildings built in the Arab Norman style. The elegant campanile of the Materana, Santo Spirito, with its superb polychrome inlays, also displays the Arab influence. The classically styled Teatro Massimo, built in 1875, it's one of the largest theatres in Europe. However, the theatre is a disgrace, having been closed since 1975 due to civic lethargy and political wrangles. Ironically, the theatre was opened briefly to stage a scene in Coppola's The Godfather Part 3. Palermo still contains a certain conception of life, a certain manner of thought that comes to the surface in the ordinary day-to-day scenario of its people. A daily round in which the past and the present are blended into an indivisible whole. The city of Palermo has its own well-known seaside resort, Monreale, sheltered by the high cliffs of Monte Pellegrino. The striking Art Nouveau pier was created by a Belgian entrepreneur. The Monreale resort reflects one's social status. Beaches range from modest pocket handkerchief class to smart boat club exclusive. High above Palermo sits Monreale. It's perched on a plateau on the slopes of Monte Caputo. A Sicilian proverb laments, "He who goes to Palermo without seeing Monreale leaves a donkey and comes back an ass." Certainly this sumptuous cathedral is the apogee of Arab Norman art. The cathedral and Benedictine monastery were built by William II, allegedly inspired by a vision. In the apse, the majestic Christos Panteprodo Benedictia looks down in all his glory. Yet it is the cathedral which takes the visitor's breath away. Its superb mosaics are a gleaming triumph of marble and gold. Stunning coastlines and spectacular villages and towns make up the western, Ionian coastal region of the island, stretching from Capo Passero in the south through Siracusa, Catania, Taormina and on to Messina in the north, the closest point of the island to mainland Italy. It was along this Ionian coast that the first Chalcidian colonists arrived in the 8th century BC and founded Naxos. Today, the lively bathing resort of Giardini nestles along the shores of the bay. And there, high above, perched high on Monte Tauro, sits Taormina, the pearl of Sicily. Taormina has been domesticated into a safe, sophisticated, un-Sicilian pocket. A century of tourism has toned down the subversive Sicilian spirit. French visitors liken Taormina to a Sicilian Saint-Tropez, stylish but unreal. The modern city has retained both the appearance and numerous reminders of the Middle Ages. The town prospered in medieval times and became the capital of Byzantine Sicily in the 9th century. Aristocratic leanings drew Taormina into the Aragonese camp and support for the Spanish. The town's richly decorated palazzi reflect the Catalan legacy. Corsa Umberto, the main street, is a feast for shopaholics. The 15th century palazzi are converted into craft shops, boutiques and bars. Luxury food emphoria display bottled peppers, candied fruit, marzipan animals and fresh kumquats. Majolica tiles, leather goods and traditional puppets and ceramics vie with chandeliers and classical stationery. Taormina is crowned by the superbly created Greco-Romano theatre, second only to that further south in Syracuse. The setting is pure drama, with a cavea hewn out of the hillside. In Greek theatre, sea and sky with a natural backdrop. The Romans preferred proscenium arches. Where the Greeks worshipped nature, the Romans tried to improve on it. The Greek parts of the theatre were built in 3 BC by Hieron and enlarged by the Romans in AD 2. It was turned into an arena for gladiatorial combat around this time. The backcloth for this smiling town, suspended between the sea and the sky, is the stern and lordly eminence of Mount Etna, the ancient Mont Gibella, or Mountain of Mountains. As one climbs the scenic Casa Cantonera road, wooded slopes give way to a wasteland of lava flows. Recent volcanic debris lies in folds, a desert of bluish clinker. Rifugio Sapienza is a refuge and hostel run by the Italian Alpine Club. It has recently been rebuilt after an eruption. A walk of a few hundred meters leaves behind the tacky bars and shops selling lava stone ashtrays and allows you to explore some of the extinct cones. Europe's largest active volcano, and in fact one of the largest in the world. It's over 3,000 meters high. Its peak is covered with snow for almost 9 months of the year, and is also the site of a renowned ski resort. Although why anyone should want to ski down something that could explode beneath them at any minute is beyond me. The landscape around is continually being altered by eruptions. Over 150 are on record, and in fact, only 10 days after I took these pictures in 2002, the sleeping giant came to life once more.